Hello, happiest of days to each of you folks. I hope you guys are having just an absolutely amazing day, and that today's video finds you as well as possibly can be. So today is Saturday, so I do my reviews today of Serial Saturdays for you folks, which are the many people have forgotten about these things. They don't really pay attention to them, sort of they do, and in fact, I'm not sure they even train how to make them right. And that sort of thing, but they're heavily influential on modern stuff, and we definitely, I think, need to go back with an appreciation. So I've been knocking out the Dick Tracy serials for you folks. I just knocked out Dick Tracy Returns from 38 last week. So I just watched Dick Tracy's Demons from 1939 by Republic. For you folks to hear my thoughts. So this is, like I just mentioned, it's by Republic with 15 chapters long, 263 minutes, and it was from 39. Now if you see me go down, up and down like this, I got like 4 or 5 pages of notes in myself. This stars Ralph Bird once again as Dick Tracy. It's the third one, and Irving Pitchell as Nicholas Zarnov, who's the big bad. Then this also stars Ted Pearson as Steve Lockwood and Phyllis Isley as Gwen Anders. Also stars Walter Miller as henchman of Zarnov, is Roble. And then another henchman is the character's name is Sandoval, and that is played by George Douglas for you folks. It's directed by William Whitney and John English. It's written by lesser people than the previous one, which is just Franklin Adderon and Ronald Davidson, Barry Shipman, Sol Shore, and based on the Chester Gould comic strip. So let's go over the plot, basically everything you'd find out in the first episode, but then that's it, because it's kind of a spoiler-free kind of thing. I'll link you to in the comments below in case you're interested, by the way. So this is, but in the comments or in the description. But in Super Spy Zarnov that I mentioned before, remember this is set in 39, right? So he's under the employ of the 3 powers, which are implied to be the Axis in this world, right after Dick Tracy, World War II. So he's captured by Dick Tracy in episode 1, The Big Bad, and he heads to the jail because of all the bad stuff that he's done. He's a super spy. So he's the baddest, nastiest, and best, and brightest. So there, he actually dies into a gas chamber. He is found dead by the local morticians and the judges and the doctors on the spot, and that sort of a thing too. But then he comes back from life and sets up and reruns his criminal underground and that sort of thing too. So they do some serial sins here and there, where, for example, they redo key things at the end for cliffhangers, like changing what happened in a retcon. Big sin there. I don't like retcon serials. When a cliffhanger ends, they film one thing, right? But then if they go back and just add like more information to it or something like that, like a car crashing, but then they show that the person actually jumped out, I don't consider that a retcon. Or if they were safe. But if they do show like the person actually dying or something like that, and then they go back and then they actually change it so the show actually didn't go off the same way that it was you saw or you thought, I consider that to be a sin, just heads up. I still head, just like the previous one, they head out and investigate on private property with no warrants at all. Like the Tracy Returns do. They don't have any warrants. They don't ask for permission to do searches. That's not a good look for the FBI, because these are the Fed agents. The G-men are Fed agents. They work for the government. They also do other illegal things like fire use only. Phones are only for emergencies and that sort of thing. For not fire use, and they don't even get any pushback from locals or people on the phone saying, hey, when he says, hey, this person who I'm reaching out to, I'm Dick Tracy and X, they don't say, hey, you're not supposed to, how do I know you're Dick Tracy? Or say this is for fire use only, no pushback at all to get them to do what they do. I don't like that. So they also, and lots of illegal things too, not showing warrants or asking permission, they just show up. They also just show up and they start walking in and start opening up drawers and that sort of thing too. And they just folks just let them and get away with it. And that sort of thing too. They do, and they hold suspects without giving them an option for a lawyer, which also isn't a good look, right? And that sort of thing too. They'll hold them for questioning. They'll promise them things and that sort of thing too. They don't say, hey, do you want a lawyer? Or anything like that. They don't give them any opportunity to give them that. They also use guns to hold up cars. rather than just like waving their hands in the middle of the street or something like that too, and saying, "Hey, can I use your car?" or something like that, or you go grab it for a thing. They'll show up with a gun, hold up the car with a gun, and then that's weird. They do a lot of telling about how bad and nasty the villains are, like in the setup or something like that. When they say, or show in the first episode too, with Czar and Abed, and they just never deliver with actually showing that on camera. By the way, also when the bad guys shoot our heroes, they sometimes will be wounded, but not actually die. But that doesn't happen to the bad guys. They get shot by our hero guys, and the heroes are rewarded for doing illegal or dumb stuff, but the criminals are not rewarded for it. They're punished for it. So there are some logical inconsistencies like the previous one, not as many. In one place, poisonous gas was used and after 10 minutes after use in a private chamber, and they still told the person you have to use a gas mask thoroughly after 10 minutes and that sort of thing too, or else you're right, they tell. But then later on in that episode, or in the cliffhanger in the next one, they actually show people letting them out, turning off the gas at the same time, just breathing it both with handkerchiefs and that sort of the thing, and they survive and are fine. They walk away from it. No. So many bad guy tribute ambushes on the good guys happen when they're clear open terrain. They don't and have good range, line of sight, and they just don't ever hit anybody. They don't land at anybody, any bullets. So, great combat scenes in here. I do like it lots in sets, but many of the previous week's issues are here in place too. So, I'm going to be giving this a 6 out of 10, just a heads up for you folks. But there you go. Have you seen this? And if so, what did you think about it? Let me know what your thoughts are of Dick Tracy's Gene in the comments below. I'd be happy to sort of engage you with it further, whatever your thoughts are. As a reminder, I'm not a trained film critic. I didn't go to film school or anything like that, or I don't make movies for a living, right? And any of that sort of thing, right? So that means that your opinion is going to be just as valid as mine, because I'm not coming from a place of expertise, right? I'm just a fan like you are. So let me know what your thoughts are. Also, like I mentioned before, this is heavily influential, the cliffhanger and aspects of this really brought people back from week to week, and Dick Tracy sold lots of tickets, made tons of money in 37, and Dick Tracy Returns did lots of gang ambassadors too the next year. So the following year, it's heavily influential. Sold seats, really brought people out to theaters, and that sort of thing too. It was, if you will, the cool water cooler talk of that era, because before the phrase I think was created, but you get the idea, right? Because you would go back, right? You go with your schools, your classes, all your folks, your workers, your family, your churches, your co-workers, all that sort of things. Everybody would go to the local movie theater, and you wouldn't see one film like you would see today that everybody was going to with a couple of trailers, and that's it. Actually, a few trailers too. You would go see like an entire day with a couple of pictures, intermission, some shorts, some serials, 2 of them. And those shorts were oftentimes newsreels or trailers, like Steamboat Willie, a few minutes long, in order to help folks out, and then a couple of trailers, and then an intermission too. So it could take like half a day, like 7 or 8 hours, would not be uncommon for that. And that sort of thing too, right? And then the people wouldn't be talking about the A picture and how great it was, or its visuals were, right? They would be talking about the cliffhangers on the way out, and saying, I don't know how this person is going to survive this cliffhanger. Let's find out next week, right? It brought them out to theaters, like I mentioned earlier. And Dick Tracy sold gangbusters too. Did very well. 1 left. So you can check it out too. Then I also enjoy some other stuff that's happening too. So you can check out these other Serial Saturdays if you're interested in that too. And follow up until the next one next week for you folks. And then I also have on Wednesday, I do older video game reviews. I just knocked out Fallout 76 from 2018. Next is going to be, it's going to be more recent. It's going to be 2 Point Museums, the DLC fantasy finds, to just put like 10 or 12 hours into it over the last couple of weeks from a couple of months ago. So I'll be doing that one. But typically I do older things. I'm also doing Let's Plays right now of 1992 Star Control 2. I've just finished up Evil Genius 4, the classic base builder. So you can check that stuff out. On Monday, I do reviews of older video games. I'm sorry, RPGs or tabletop, and then war games too, like BattleTech or Dungeons and Dragons. I just finished the UK series and the lesser known stuff for that, so you can check out those. I've also done a bunch of BattleTech stuff, middleware role-playing reviews, that sort of a thing too. So you can just check out that stuff too. And then the other 3 days a week I do are on things that you read in the 3 genres that we cover: fantasy, science fiction, and horror too. And then in addition to that, they are in the older stuff typically. Although sometimes there'll be a more recent sort of a thing too, right? So if those 7 videos a week plus Let's Plays and all that stuff too sound like your cup of tea, then great. Welcome to the channel and have a seat. I think you'll enjoy your time here quite a bit, right? And while you're here, why not please do all the YouTube stuff, like hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon to be notified of those videos, and then share and watch, right? Basically, share and watch shows the key ways we grow on this channel for you folks. Alright, so there you go. As you can tell from all those older things, it's the passion of where this channel comes from, finding these older things for you, like the Tracy serial, and then helping you see them and getting reviews for them, that sort of thing too. So that's even where the title of it comes from too. The worst thing about new books. It's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old stuff, right? And there's definitely some old stuff we might have forgotten about. And our passion for the new movies today, the new video games on Wednesday, the new novels, and that sort of thing too. We have sometimes forgotten that these things are standing on the shoulders of giants. So let's check out those giants. I think you'll enjoy that quite a bit, right? Not that they're bad, right? But you know, you get the idea. So. All right, so there you are. I want to thank you so very, very much for just taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my videos, right? Because we all have so many things, right, that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions too, right? So thank you. Spend this time with me. That's incredibly humbling. And I appreciate that so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.